Morning Middle 1 students. Let's do some poetry together. Let me remind you what we have taken before. What do I mean by paraphrase a poem? To paraphrase a poem is to explain the whole poem in your own words for more clarification. Also, I have a term called poetic devices or imagery. Poetic devices are divided into two parts: figures of speech and sound devices. Figures of speech, I'm going to give you now some examples of figures of speech. Number 1, personification. What do I mean by personification? Personification is giving human qualities to something that is not human. For example, your computer hates me. Can a computer hate? Of course not. So this is called personification. When you give an object a human quality, your computer hates me. The poet here personifies the computer as someone who can hate. And this is what I mean by personification. Number 2, paradox. What do I mean by paradox? It's a statement which appears to contradict itself. Okay? For example, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, and so on. Number 3, simile. What do I mean by simile? Simile is just comparing two things together using as or like. For example, cute as a kitten, as cold as an ice, and so on. Now let's move to sound devices. An example of sound device is alliteration. And what do I mean by alliteration? Is repeating the first consonant sounds in words, like the following example: Peter, pepper, picked a pickled pepper, and so on. Another example of sound devices is repetition. And what do I mean by repetition? Repetition is repeating a word or words for creating a musical effect, like the following example. Here you can see nobody and nobody is repeated, and this is an example of repetition. And repetition creates a musical effect. Or you can say that all sound devices is used by the poet to create musical effects. Now let's have a look at our poem today, written by William Wordsworth, and it's called My Heart Leaps Up. Let's read it together. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began, so is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is father of the man, and I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural piety. Okay, now what we are going to do with this piece of poetry? We are going to paraphrase and we are going to find out the poetic devices. Here, again, to paraphrase is to explain the whole poem in your own words. Before we do this, we're going to have a look at some of the new vocab. Leaps up means to jump. Behold, look at, see, watch, rainbow, the arch of color that appears in the sky when it's raining and the sun is shining. Bound, attached, linked to or connected to. Piety, feeling of a deep respect for God and religion. Now let's read the paraphrase together. Here I'm going to tell you the main idea of the poem is that the poet feels very happy whenever he sees a rainbow. Okay? Like his heart is jumping happily. Let's read this together. The poet says that his heart jumps with joy whenever he sees a rainbow in the sky. This is how he felt when he was young, and it still makes him happy as an adult. The memory of the beautiful rainbow forms the link between his childhood, adulthood, and his old age, past, present, and future. He would prefer to die if the sight of a rainbow no longer made him happy. In line 7, we have the line, the child is father of the man. William Wordsworth The poet sums up his philosophy of life. He believes that every human is influenced by his childhood. The child falls in love with nature as soon as he is born. The admiration remains constant throughout all his life stages, from childhood till old age. The poet wishes that his life would continue in harmony with the beauty of nature and deep love for God. Now let's look at some literary terms or poetic devices. Number one, personification. My heart leaps up. The poet's heart jumps when he sees a rainbow. Here is the personification. The poet personifies the heart as a person who jumps happily whenever he sees a rainbow. Number two, paradox. The child is father of the man. The poet uses a statement which seems to hold opposite meaning, yet turns out to have a reasonable and sensible aim. Here, the child is the father of the man. You see how it's a very contradicting statement, and this is called a paradox. How a child can be a father of the man, it's very weird. So this is called a paradox. Repetition, and here we have a sound device, which is repetition. So was it when my life began, so is it now I am a man, so be it when I shall grow old. The word so is repeated 3 times to create a musical effect.